Miss Level here. Welcome to my candy shop. Today we're going to be talking about dividing and all the strategies that you can use while you're dividing. I use these all the time whenever I'm sorting out my candy. So today we're going to talk about all these strategies and we're going to teach you something new. Let's get started. Okay guys, before we can start some division problems, I first want to explain a few things and a couple of strategies that we can use along the way. First off, whenever you see this symbol right here, this means that you are going to be dividing into equal groups. Now, whenever you have your larger number at the very front of your problem, that's called your dividend. A dividend is a number that's going to be divided by another number. Next, we have the 3, which is our divisor in 15 divided by 3. The divisor is the number that divides into another number. So we are actually dividing 3 into this number 15. And then lastly, we have your quotient. Your quotient is your end result. This is the answer to a division problem. So now that we've gone over the basics, we're going to be focusing on 15 divided by 3 equals 5 in each different strategy. The first strategy that we're going to talk about today is an array. An array is a strategy that we don't only use for addition and multiplication, but we can also use it for division as well. In my picture, I have 15 items. These items are arranged into an array by having 5 columns, which is up and down, and 3 rows, which is from side to side. So, if I break the 15 into 3 rows, I have 5 items in each row. Our next strategy is repeated subtraction. This is whenever you're going to take the dividend and you're going to subtract it by 5. So I'm going to subtract it by 5 until I reach 0. Whenever I do this, I see that I have 3 answers. 1, 2, and 3. So through this, I can see that 15 divided by 3 equals 5. Next, we have a number line. In a number line, you can either start at 0 or you can start the largest amount, which in this case is 15. From there, you're going to skip count by 5s until you reach either 0 or 15. For example, if I start at 0, I could skip count 5, 10, 15. From there, I would just count my jumps, 1, 2, and 3. After doing this, I can see that 15 divided by 3 equals 5. On a number line, you can also jump backwards. 15 minus 5 is 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. And then 5 minus 5 is 0. Once again, I would count my jumps. 1, 2, 3. The last strategy that we're going to talk about today is equal groups. Whenever you're dividing, you want to make sure you're dividing the number evenly. So in this example, I have 15 stars. So I made 3 circles, which represent my groups, and I put a star in each circle until it was completely filled up. At the end of this, I had 5 stars in each circle. By splitting the 15 stars into the 3 groups, I can see that 15 divided by 3 equals 5. Now that we have a better understanding of what division is, as well as the different strategies that we can use while we're dividing, let's see what we have to do first. All right, guys, the first problem we're going to be looking at is 20 divided by 4. We don't know the quotient in this problem, so we're going to use an array to help us figure it out. Now, in my array, I have 5 columns. Remember, columns are the ones that go down, so I have 5 columns. And I have 4 rows. Remember, rows go from side to side. Now, whenever I'm packaging my bubble gum, I always put them in groups of 4. So I want to make as many groups as 4 as I can with this array. Here's one group of 4, two groups of 4, three groups of 4, four groups of 4, and lastly 5 groups of 4. So by doing this, I now see that I have 5 groups of 4. So that must mean that 20 divided by 4 equals 5. Great work, guys. Let's get started on our next problem. All right, our next problem is 30 divided by 5. Now, for this problem, I'm going to use repeated subtraction. Now, whenever you're doing repeated subtraction, all you're doing is subtracting by 5 until you get to 0. So you're going to start with your dividend, which is 30, and you're going to say 30 minus 5 equals what? Well, I can't take 5 from 0, so I'm going to regroup. I'm going to change this 3 into a 2. And this 0, I'm going to add 10 to it, so now it becomes 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5, and then I'm going to bring down that 2, so 25. Now I'm going to bring this 25 up, and I'm going to continue to subtract. So 25 minus 5. 5 and 5 cancel out, so that's 0. You bring down the 2, that's 20. Bring the 20 up. 20 minus 5. I can't take 5 from 0, so I'm going to regroup. This 2 becomes a 1. This 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Bring down the 1. 15 minus 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. Bring the 1 down. 10 minus 5 is 5. And then lastly, I'm going to subtract 5 minus 5. Which is 0. So, y'all did really, really great with this, but we're not finished. Now we need to count how many problems we did total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I know that 30 divided by 5 equals 6. Great work, guys. Let's start on our next strategy. Okay, guys, the next strategy that we're going to be focusing on is equal groups. In equal groups, you want to make sure that you're dividing out the item and everyone has an equal share. So our problem is 18 divided by 6. So whenever we're beginning division, the best way is to just put one at a time into each group. You can do this by drawing a circle on your paper and drawing dots. Or in this case, I'm going to be dragging each gummy bear into the 6 bags. I want to find out how many gummy bears go into each bag. So I'm going to begin. Okay, so now every bag has one gummy bear, but I still have gummy bears left, so I have to keep going. So by doing this, I now have used 12 of my 18 gummy bears. So now there's 2 gummy bears in each bag. Let's see if I can get these last 6 to go in all the bags. Great, they all fit. So whenever I had 18 gummy bears and I divided them into 6 groups or into 6 bags, I discovered that 3 gummy bears will fit in each bag. So that must mean that 18 divided by 6 equals 3. Fantastic job. Let's move on to our next strategy. All right, guys, we're going to be focusing on a number line now. We're going to be solving the problem 16 divided by 2 equals question mark. So I'm dividing up 16 pieces of chocolate by 2. So whenever you're using a number line, you can start at 0 and go all the way up to your dividend, which in this case is 16. Or you can start from 16 and jump back all the way to 0. In this case, I'm going to jump back from 16. So I'm going to start at the very right-hand side of the number line at 16. And I know that I have to end at 0. So because we're working with 2's, I'm going to skip count by 2's all the way down the number line. So I'm going to make my first jump. So 16 minus 2 is 14. 14 minus 2 is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then 2 minus 2 is 0. So now that I've done that, I'm going to count the number of skips I made in order to figure out what 16 divided by 2 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So by doing it this way, I've discovered that 16 divided by 2 equals 8. Great work, guys. Great work today, guys. Y'all did so great with all 4 of the strategies. I'll see you next time.